They're trying to push this guy as a real investigative citizen journalist. He's less believable than Ron Breinart. They say his name's Rob Yeager. If you watch him enough, you'll notice he's reading off of a teleprompter. He's reading off of something that makes it easy for him to speak. You'll notice that with the rest of them too, when they go into their diatribes, when they go into long rants with plenty of details, you'll see that they're reading off of stuff. I looked into it. People can turn their computers into teleprompters. I think these are military shills who can be provided with the fanciest of chairs, fanciest of furniture, and audio equipment. They can be given whatever they need, from audio equipment to teleprompters. They think they're fighting terrorism. I don't know who they're fooling. What I think this means is that there's no anonymous. Perhaps there was never really an anonymous. The ones that were famous turned out to be FBI, the Sabu guy. They want to get in contact with Jeremy Hammond, referring to this new batch, the ones who have co-opted the Julian Assange movement. Someone should warn Jeremy Hammond to stay away from these people because they are COINTELPRO. They are from the military. You look at them, you can see it in their shoulders, you can see it in their attitudes, in their voices. So I'm making this video today because yesterday I got back into stamps in a big way, but it resulted in some eye strain. So I'm not completely ready to go back into my special interest of stamps. Those keep me busy. Those keep me out of trouble. They make me happy. They keep me away from this stuff. I don't want to quit video blogging. I just want to quit video blogging on the disinfo rats. I've got video on Yeager from 2 channels. I got him on Redneckonomics, obviously reading off of something to the side. I notice stuff. I notice the drug addicts. I notice the rigged nature of things. I studied sociology at the postgraduate level.
So that's what got me interested on the story. Was just like, I mean, what nobody's talking about it, for one. I mean, I thought that once I saw it, then everybody else was going to see it with me and it would just kind of blow up, but it never did. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just see what I can find. And my reporting started on this basically when I looked into their inspection records, basically how have they been inspecting their pipeline over the last couple of years. And, you know, as I mentioned before, it's the 5,500 mile pipeline. But in 2019, they inspected only at most 45% of it. Now, specifically, this leak came through a crack, right? So in 2019, they only checked 650 miles of their entire pipeline for cracks. And if that's bad enough, you can go back to 2018 and their records show that they only inspected 150 miles of the pipeline that year for cracks.
Wow.
So,
and is there any...
Get this Yeager on the Boots on the Ground show. They call it Facts on the Ground, but they're obviously referring to the military phrase Boots on the Ground. This guy, Rob Yeager, is brothers with the skinnier guy. They think we're idiots. They call each other fam because it's easier to lie when you know the other people. It's easier to be an actor if you're working well with whoever's in the production, the script, the TV show, the movie, the high school play, whatever college play, whatever you're working on, the town play, the town production. It's easier to act if you trust the other players. It's called teamwork. It's not sports where you're in competition. Acting, theater, stuff like that is about trusting. It's about being natural. These people are anything but natural. They're the opposite of natural. So this guy Yeager, I think, is brothers, cousins, something very related to the other guy who seems to be a Freemason. He's into the devil worship, I think, and the tattoos. Maybe not devil worship, but the whatever, flashing signs, the 666, all that nonsense. If you look at them, they have very similar facial features. I don't just say this to say it. I'm thinking that it's quite possible that Amber and Redneckonomics are sisters, that they're both daughters of Shanda, that there was a different husband at some point. That's my theory on them. They have the same last name. Maybe that is a real name, but they look like Shanda. I think they are relatives working. I think H.A. Goodman is the son or nephew of Melvin Goodman. They simply have the same features. They make the same quirky idiosyncrasies. That's what they're called. These people are maggots. We're not meant to listen to drug addicts. We're not meant to have anything to do with COINTELPRO, disinfo shills, military shills, whatever these people are, agents, rat snitches. These are maggots.
How many miles did they check for cracks? To the number of incidents over the past, all of those stats just paint the very real picture. And apparently the federal government agrees with me for once on something, and that is the fact that Colonial Pipeline isn't safe at all. And my whole thing is, I like to say that in a perfect world, I would say no pipelines, right? Because there'd be no need for them. In the real world, I would say no new pipelines, but the pipelines that we do have are probably not going to go anywhere. But we're the richest, so-called the richest country in the world, most advanced country in the world. These pipelines that we do have, that do currently operate, ought to be operating not only at like the most tip-top shape that you can think of, but the companies that operate them basically should have no choice but to operate them in that fashion. I mean, that's what I get to make an example out of Colonial Pipeline, not DAPL. And this is where I've been drawing a lot of correlations with Dakota Access, because before I get on this little tangent, I just want to make clear that I do feel that the Dakota Access Pipeline is a worthy cause for people's protests and organizations, for sure. However,
if a maggot was a human being, that's who these people are. Nico House is suspicious as F. He's obviously on drugs as much as anyone else. Their faces are tweaking out. There's a different look to the person on psychiatric pills with those into drugs. There's a difference between drug addiction and tardive dyskinesia from psychiatric pills. It's a whole different feeling to the person. These people exhibit delirium, ecstasy. You can just see that they're on drugs and not antidepressants. I think that's about it. I'm just saying they're all pushing this Jaeger guy as being some form of citizen journalist. It's what the scam is. They're done. Steve Poikonen is an exposed COINTELPRO agent who lied about working for the nation. Redneckonomics and Manitowoc, to go with Ebon Kim, those are obvious disinfo shills. They prove it in what they say, what they cover. When someone's plausible deniability is that they're a random kook, yet they're involved in what's obviously organized and contrived, those are disinfo shills. I don't think there's a real anonymous out there, or else we would have more information. It seems that everything just came to a halt with the information on Hal Turner. If there was a real anonymous, I think we would have a lot more information. We know who H.A. Goodman is in real life. We know what his first name is. I think his name might be Melvin in real life. There might be another set of Melvin Goodmans out there. I fell into a little trap of the middle name not matching up. That could be an error. I think it's possible H.A. is Melvin Goodman Jr., but I'm not sure on that. But I am sure that he's related to Melvin Goodman. I see it in their faces. I see that Rob Yeager, or whatever his real name is related to the other guy from Boots on the Ground. From Facts on the Ground, sorry. I can see that Nico House is a paid fake. You can see it in his face. You can see Graham Elwood is a paid fake who was pro-war. You can see that Jimmy Dore is some kind of washed up drug addict. You can go into their archives and find out that they were never funny. Joe Rogan is the most obvious example of a disinfo agent that you're going to come across. All these people are linked. They plug the same people. They're always at most 1 or 2 degrees away. So say a Whitney Webb isn't plugged by Rogan, she'll get plugged by Tim Dillon, who gets plugged by Rogan. Ford Fisher connects this dirtbag left, whatever they are, with the Luke Rudkowskis, the Prison Planets, the Alex Jones. That's about it. I think I've said enough. I've got 5 videos that I'm just going to sprinkle in here or there. I want to show that without a doubt, that guy Yeager they're plugging as the new sliced bread of citizen journalists, that he is a COINTELPRO agent, that he's a fake, that he's a moron, that he's reading off of something supplied to him. Okay, bravo, he knows how to read. That's all these people know how to do. People in real life do not speak that fast. They do on cocaine, but that's different from reading off of a script while you're on cocaine. So I've got 2 videos on that Yeager guy from Redneck Economics, from Facts on the Ground. I wanted to show that I think he's brothers or related somehow to the other guy right there. They have the same sort of faces. Just got to watch a little bit. H.A. Goodman is a mess. His face is done. He's clearly a drug addict. He shows all the signs of drug addiction of cocaine, from the eyes to the eyebrows to the puffy cheeks to the Diet Coke jaw. He's related to Melvin Goodman. You can just see it. Maybe that's something I have a skill in that I developed, or that I have a good eye for that type of thing. Somehow I'm good at it. I think others can be good at it. I think if one just looks, they can see the similarities. Then you get Franco plugging Yeager. You get Nico plugging Yeager. That's pretty much what I downloaded. I woke up early today. It's not even 5:30 a.m. yet. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm seizing the life. I'm seizing what has to be done to be healthy and happy for my remaining time on the planet, in the atmosphere, sharing the now with everyone else. These people do not fool me, and that's why I went on and on exposing them. Now that this is finally done, I'm hoping I can move on, that I can step out and see the world like a rolling stone, because that's what life is meant to be. So that's that. They don't fool me. Convo Couch was proven to doctor film footage at Echo Park. They are COINTELPRO working with police at events. Before them, it was Tim Pool and Emily Molly, Tim Pool's friend. Fort Fisher is involved in this fake citizen journal racket. Brandon Darby was into filming protests. Cassandra Fairbanks. They have a shelf life for that sort of job role because after a while people notice that they are COINTELPRO rats. That's why Tim Pool doesn't go out into the field anymore. He knows that we know he's a rat shill. Now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every website, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without trolling, without scrolling. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, that, this. I did it my